Hi, my name is Easter. I am Professor of Intelligent Systems and Service, and currently I am Head of Department of Hospitality at University of Surrey. Welcome to the taster session for International Hospitality Management and International Hospitality and Tourism Management. Throughout the session, we will introduce who we are, our backgrounds, our interests in research, as well as to describe how the programs are and what kind of learning experience you will have in our programs. We have world-class teachers and researchers in the department. Our researchers are world-renowned experts in the field of hospitality management, both at the senior level, professors, as well as early career researchers, working on areas such as human resource management and hospitality technology. And some of our teachers were industry leaders, managers in various hospitality venues. So students in our department would get the best of both worlds with balanced, world-class managerial and philosophical learning experience.
Hello, my name's Anita Reeves and I'm Professor of Hospitality Management at the University of Surrey in the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. I've been at the university for quite a long time now, which says a lot, I think, about the environment we work in and how well we work together. I still enjoy it.
Hi everyone, my name is Mark Ashton and I'm a teaching fellow in the Department of Hospitality here at the University of Surrey. I teach Hospitality Operations Management and lead several modules looking at the operations of hotels and restaurants and looking at service delivery as well.
Hi there, my name's Karen Kelly and I'm a teaching fellow in Hospitality Operations Management. I too have a degree in Hospitality Management from the University of Surrey and graduated in 2005.
Hello, I'm Yuri and I'm currently a lecturer in hospitality. I originally come from South Korea. I come from an economics and geography background and I bring these two areas into my teaching and research at SHTM.
Hello everybody, just to introduce myself, my name is Sylvia Ganbert. I'm one of the senior teaching fellows at the University of Surrey within the hospitality department.
Hello everyone, I hope you all are keeping well. My name is Tracy Xu. I come from China and I received my PhD degree at the Pennsylvania State University in the US. I joined Surrey for more than 3 years and during those years I teach human resource management related modules and also strategic management related modules.
Good day, prospective students. My name is Leon van Achterberg. I'm South African and I've been with University of Surrey now for 6 years.
Hello, my name is Dr. Emma Marie Reardon and I'm a teaching fellow in hospitality management at the University of Surrey. I am originally from Ireland and prior to my current role, I was working as Learning and Development Manager in the 5-star Marion Hotel in Dublin and also working part-time as Assistant Lecturer in Hospitality Management at Technological University Dublin.
Hi everyone, my name is Sumitra Ramakrishnan and I am a Senior Teaching Fellow in the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management in the University of Surrey. I'm originally from India, where I did my undergraduate degree. I moved to Surrey to do my master's in International Hospitality Management and then stayed on to do a PhD after being awarded a Savoy Educational Trust scholarship.
Hello everyone, my name is Daisy Liu. I'm a lecturer in the hospitality department. I came from China. I joined the University of Surrey from last September. And before that, I studied and lived in the United States for many years. And I got both my master's degree and my PhD degree there.
Hello everybody, just wanted to welcome you to our open day. And although it's in the virtual world, we are extremely delighted to see you through the virtual lens. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Marco Giraudo. I'm a Principal Teaching Fellow here at the university, supporting the hospitality school. I'm also in charge of a new and exciting project the school is working on, which is the Learning Hotel. So I'm also the project director to get this Learning Hotel up and running. You will hear much more about this. If you are joining us, you will probably also experience the new hotel on site.
I've been in many different industries before my life, before I became an academic, and lots of my experience in industry comes through in my teaching. My main interests are business science, strategy, and also getting students ready for industry.
My background really is all about hospitality and travel, restaurant world, and cruise ships. So I started my career and worked my way through the ranks and finally joined several companies as the hotel manager and general manager, also in charge for a number of new openings, in particular for Four Seasons Hotel, in charge of concept development and pre-openings. Throughout my career, I was fortunate enough to be able to influence a couple of exciting projects. We recently launched 2 cruise ships. Having designed them and built them from scratch and developed the concept has been something really interesting. Why does it matter to you? It does because we are able to bring the theory and the real world very close to you, and with our experience here, not just myself but also my colleagues, we are able to show you the real world and take you through the different stages of what it takes to be successful, not just as a student but also in the real world once you are joining and once you're engaging in your career.
I began my career doing an undergrad in hospitality and institutional management. Went on to work across the world in hotels. I started in the operationals department, working my way from the front desk to conference and banqueting, reservations, and then eventually revenue management. I have worked in the UK, I've worked in the States, I've worked in Australia and the Middle East. My speciality subject is revenue management, which is essentially the art of making money within hotels and other industries. And my speciality specifically is more 5-star luxury sector.
Before joining Surrey as a teaching fellow, I graduated equally from Surrey back in 2001 with a degree in hotel and catering management. I then enjoyed a career in industry, working my way up to being a general manager of 2 luxury hotels most recently, having worked my way up through the food and beverage route, being a food and beverage manager in London and working in luxury hotels both in London and the home counties.
I've been working in the hospitality industry for over 12 years, and I just love sharing my hands-on professional experiences with my students now in the classroom.
I'm originally from Indonesia. I did my bachelor's and master's in engineering and my PhD in information sciences. So I bring with me the background and the perspectives of human-computer interactions and engineering design to the hospitality sector.
My main area of research is consumer behaviour, looking at what people do in the context of food, whether they're choosing healthy items, or whether they're performing good hygiene behaviours, or whether they're concerned about allergies and so on.
I currently teach in financial accounting and applied financial management. And my main research interests are in big data and the economic impact and performance in hospitality and tourism, particularly focusing on productivity. I was able to bring my economics and geography background into hospitality and tourism. This led me to research on the labour productivity of hospitality and tourism businesses, but also its relationship with place and region. Currently, what excites me is big data and the potential of big data to further understand the geography of businesses and consumers. So I am researching some in collaboration with local businesses in Surrey in order to understand and explore consumer movement and behavior and their experiences in a specific destination, but also furthering my research to understand the performance, the competitiveness and strategy of businesses in specific regions as well.
I've always been interested in hospitality operations management, particularly the role of people and the acceptance of pay in the industry. I have also written about the career aspirations of hospitality management students and the influence of gender as well as work experience in designing those aspirations.
My research interests mainly focus on two streams. The first one is digital marketing, including social media marketing, in which I look at consumer behaviors, experience sharing behaviors on different social media platforms like Facebook and online review sites. The second one is cross-culture studies, in which I look at the role of cultures on consumer behaviors in different hospitality and tourism contexts.
In my research, I look at the applications of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, robotics, and in general, intelligent automation to make processes and experiences more efficient and also more meaningful. With the advancements of technologies we are seeing right now, we started to witness the applications of service robots, drones, and also recognition technologies such as facial recognition at e-gates at airports, for example, that is implemented to facilitate travel. And this generates public opinion and public perception that the future is coming at us at a faster pace. So my research sets an agenda for how we can shape the future so that we can have the sector, the hospitality and travel related sectors, to be more sustainable.
Hello everyone, I'm Anyu and my background is economics. So I'm doing some research which is closely related to industry but used economic models. For example, I'm looking at the guest behaviors in the Airbnb market. Given the current spread of COVID-19, we are also doing some research which is related to the recovery of the travel market and the behavior of guests or customers after the COVID-19. We are also looking at the travel intention of the tourists during the lockdown period.
I am the Programme Leader for International Hospitality Management. All our programmes can either be 3 years or 4 years, depending on whether you take the option of a professional training year. In the first year, we build on all the skills necessary for the next years of study in such things as restaurant operations, restaurant management, marketing principles, understanding the hospitality business. Second year moves on to more management skills, such as dealing with revenue, human resources, and rooms division management. Then obviously you have the option of going on a professional training year, and I would say that is a must do, not a nice to do. So it really gives you the edge, the competitive edge when you finish university. So final year is building and wraps the whole of the other 2 or 3 years together. And then finally, it's the day that we all love, is graduation for our students.
So as you can see from the slide here, the International Hospitality and Tourism Management degree course, similarly to the International Hospitality Management course that my colleague Karen has just described, is a 3 or a 4 year course. In the first year of the course, you'll look at modules that cover the operational, practical, and kind of understanding of topics. You'll get the scope of the subject through these first year modules. In the second year, you'll look at the supervision and managerial side of hospitality management. After the second year, you have the choice of going on a professional training year, and this is something I'd highly recommend. I remember my training year when I did my degree, going out to a luxury hotel and learning so much through rotating through lots of the operational departments. It's a really great opportunity, and my colleague Leon's going to tell you a bit more about the professional training year and the opportunities for you to travel and work in lots of different countries and lots of different levels a little bit later on in this lecture. When you come back for the final year of your degree, you'll be looking at the strategic level of hospitality management and how we manage businesses in the long term, thinking about advanced level studies, thinking about maybe investment, the life cycle of companies, business planning, entrepreneurship, those kind of things you might want to study after university. And I'd say the whole degree is a bit like a business management degree, really, but with some added benefits. So you'll still study the functions that you would through a business management degree, maybe operations, finance, marketing, HR, research and development, or innovation to a degree. But in addition to all those things, you'll get some subject-specific content here. We're a school that focuses on hospitality and tourism management, so you'll be taught by specialists in the field. And it gives you examples to apply those functional studies to. It's a really great course, and I hope we can welcome you to Surrey in the future.
Briefly introducing the professional training year. I'm the senior professional training tutor for the school. By that, I also lead the process of preparation for professional training. At professional training, it's not just about learning. Yes, you're going to be introduced to your specific industry sector, be that hospitality, tourism, or events. It's immensely invaluable. Every student is recommended to go on placement. The contacts that you pick up, networking with captains of industry, being exposed to the different trends in industry, and just the working experience is amazingly valuable for your CV and also for when you graduate. Thank you.
In the next section of this lecture, I want to introduce the scope of the hospitality sector to you all. And I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about this, dividing it into two areas. And the first area you can see from the screen is looking at the accommodation sector of the hospitality industry. And we can perhaps think of the hospitality industry as a whole, as a kind of vast industry spanning lots of different sectors. It's a real broad church. And we need to think about how we can split this or break this down to talk about in just a few minutes, which is a bit of an unenviable job, really. There's so much to say. But the first sector we're going to look at is the accommodation sector. And whilst you can see on the screen that this encompasses many different things, I'm going to really home in on and focus on hotels in the next few minutes. The other half of the industry that we're going to look at as well over the next few minutes is the food and beverage, or the food service sector. And again, this is a massive sector. And I'm intending to take you on a whistle-stop tour through some examples and consider how our programs of study link to these different areas of both the accommodation and the food service sector. And indeed, it might give you an example of the scope of some of the career opportunities that might present themselves to you following a degree at Surrey. So I thought it would be a neat place to start with a couple of my favourite operations. The first example I've got is the Pig Hotel. The first Pig they set up in the New Forest. You can see it on the screen in front of you. It was set up by one of the founders of Hotel du Van, Robin Hudson, and it's now become a small group of hotels in the south of England. And I like it. I think it's a very successful operation. I think he's a really cute operator in terms of he tends to tap into the here and nows, the trends, what people want at the time, which perhaps Hotel de Van was maybe 20 years ago, and the Pig certainly encompasses today. There's lots of interesting things here, but it's a kind of shabby chic theme going on. It's very relaxed. Their menu focuses on their kitchen garden and sourcing all their food from within a 25-mile radius. They're very small hotels or restaurants with rooms, as I think they might call themselves. And I think they're a really relaxing retreat. My other favourite operation that I've picked out is Ham Yard Hotel, part of the Ferndale Hotels collection up in London. And this is in a small courtyard just behind Piccadilly Circus, right in the hubbub of town. But you wouldn't necessarily know that in the hotel or in the courtyard. Again, this is an incredibly successful business model. Ferndale Hotels have a couple of handfuls of hotels in London and in New York. And I think each hotel they open has become braver, both in its scale and in the interior design. What I really like about Ham Yard, and I'd encourage you to go and have a peek in if you're ever in London, is its basement level. And the main image that I'm showing you on the screen in front of you is the bar area in the basement. And adjoining this bar area is a 1950s Texan bowling alley and a big private screening room with electric orange seats. The private bowling alley, or the Tenpin bowling alley, has got some really funky artwork. The cinema is just really cool. It makes you feel like you're somewhere really special. And the bar is kind of framed with this wonderful fresh orange squeezer that goes from the mezzanine floor above it right down to this bar. It's just a really cool space and somewhere that you would just want to be. And the hotel itself follows on with that if you go through the public areas and you're lucky enough to go and stay in or see any of the rooms. So I'd really encourage you to go and have a quick peek in this hotel if you're ever in London.
I was asked to think about my very favourite place to go on holiday, and I really think it's the Body Hotel in St Lucia. It has all the things that I really love about hospitality: really lovely people, really excellent service, good food and good wine. It's a fantastic hotel set in a small bay with a beautiful spa that you can go and have treatments. And when you've done all the sports, you can relax in a top-class Thai restaurant where they make beautiful chocolate puddings and write nice little things on the plate to you and make you feel like a special customer. And hopefully that's what we're going to do in our hospitality degree courses.
I have traveled to many places around the world and I have many favorites, but this is probably one of the most memorable ones. As part of my research, I've had the opportunity to stay in many properties owned and operated by Henna Hotel. So that's the chain that first introduced robotic hotels in 2015. And not only that I got to learn what kinds of innovation and advanced technologies that they have implemented in the hotels, they also have shared their experiences and in terms of strategies and also best practices that would help other hospitality companies thinking about implementing autonomous technologies, automated systems, and service robotics in hotels and other hospitality venues.
So let's think about the scope of the accommodation sector then. And I'm literally going to whiz through a few examples of where it might start and where it might end. And we could perhaps think about how we might classify those different types of hotels. You might get a couple of ideas in your mind before I start. So at the entry end, I guess, of the hotel industry, we've got these economy or budget properties. You'll know some of these brands, I'm sure. Some of their clever advertising. So right down at the economy end, I'm using Formula One, part of the Accor hotel group, as a really good example. It's a set price per room. You can sleep up to 3 guests in a room. It's a really early adopter of automation, where you can see on the bottom left-hand image, you slip your credit card in, pay for your room like that. You get an entry code to get into the hotel in your room. Self-cleaning, bathrooms in the rooms, etc., minimal service level. And then up to budget hotels like Premier Inn, Travelodge, Ibis Budget, perhaps, lots of you will be familiar with. We could then skip up to mid-market hotels like the Holiday Inn, possibly aiming at the kind of family market, doing what they do well, very consistent, what we might know exactly what we'd expect. And then maybe up to some different concepts, all suite hotels perhaps, bigger in America than in the UK. And then maybe something that's kind of an archetype of the UK, the country house hotel. And these started with some really kind of quintessential examples, maybe Chewton Glen as an example, Penny Hill Park, Tilney Hall perhaps. And there's some much more modern versions who have perhaps taken that cool idea and really gone to town with it. I give the Grove as a really good example. Four Seasons in Hampshire and Limewood in the New Forest as really interesting examples of country houses, doing it in quite a different way. So Chewton Glen's probably old-fashioned, traditional kind of starchy service almost. Limewood's really the opposite of that, very relaxed, quite modern in how they do it, but both really at the top end of their game and what they're doing. And then we could move on to luxury hotels. So luxury hotels, I guess the Dorchester in London would be the example that would come straight into my mind here. You can see other examples on the screen. And the main image here is the promenade at the Dorchester in London. And I remember my first visit to the Dorchester, being able to go behind the scenes. And behind the scenes is equally magnificent, as impressive as front of house, in as much as you get to ride down escalators into the kitchen. And it's quite surreal seeing waiters coming up and down the escalator with trays with cloches of food on and things. So real fun. At the top end of their game, these big hotels, it's really a different world, the level of service they're providing. Also, we get to think about some less conventional hotels, I guess, and people that are maybe disrupting the market a little bit. And Citizen M is a really good example of this. The image at the top of the screen here, the bedroom that you can see looks to be quite a tight space, is a Citizen M room. And their concept is doing what they do to a really high quality with a good injection of tech in their service offering, and really nice kind of plush, big living rooms, they call it, their public areas that they're encouraging you to use and not be dormant in your bedroom for too long, other than for sleeping, maybe working and washing. And you can see the rooms are literally the width of a king-size bed. It's a really clever concept in so many ways, from how they construct the hotels to how they run the hotels. They still charge a premium rate, style led, but the room footprint is very, very small, and you can imagine some of the benefits of doing that. So at the end of this accommodation sector, I want to link to some of what you'll learn with us at Surrey and the experiences we'll give you. So we'll teach you to consider the various aspects around both operating and managing various hospitality organisations, in this case hotels or accommodation sector organisations. And we'll do this through a variety of modules. Operations analysis, where we look at running a hotel through a simulation. Rooms division management, that my colleague Sylvia is going to introduce in a second. Revenue management, where she'll do the same thing. And coming into your final year, looking at international hospitality operations management. How do we draw all of this stuff together? And the opportunity to look at investment, how you might go about investing in hotels or understanding the finance models behind hotels, whether that's direct ownership, management contracts, franchising, etc. So there's lots of things we'll do throughout the course to bring this magnificent sector, this real wide range of accommodation providers to life for you.
So the topics that I teach, one of them is one of them is rooms division management. And this is a second year topic. It's compulsory for some programs and optional for others. It includes an exposure to hotels with a 2-day working experience in local hotels and some London and airport hotels. We send you out to work 1 day in housekeeping and 1 day in front office to get a realistic picture of what happens in a hotel. The idea is that you can't manage something that you do not understand how it operates and the complexity of different hotels. The emphasis is to combine the theory that we teach you with an understanding of real life practice. The second module that I teach in the second year, which is a compulsory module, is understanding revenue management. And revenue management, everybody has a fear of revenue management because they believe it's a financial module. And it is in some ways, but actually it's a lot more interesting. In essence, the revenue management is how to make money. Financial accounting is how to count the money. So we look at understanding things like pricing, distribution, how hotels distribute to guests. We look at forecasting. We look at the emphasis behind various types of clients and customers within a hotel. We use a simulation within this module, which puts, again, practice combined with theory into the module. The final year module, this is actually a new one that we've brought into practice for students. It's a final year advanced revenue management. It's an optional module, and it's designed as a continuation of the second year revenue management module for the students that are really interested in this area and think, actually, this is an area that I'd like to concentrate on post-graduation. So it adds knowledge, it adds skill, more complexity in the art of analysis. Very few undergrad degrees teach you the art of analysis, and this particular module is going to help you to analyze data, to see the story behind the numbers, to be able to present, to be able to make and understand the complexities between internal and external forces in your market. So whether new hotels are opening around your hotel, whether things like pandemics, things like economic factors, political factors affect hotels and the revenue that comes in.
So I'm going to move on to the other half of hospitality next, and we're going to think about that food service sector that I introduced right at the beginning. And I've got a neat slide here that just gives us a rough idea of the different kind of sectors that make up the restaurant or the food service sector, from looking at low spend and maybe a quick meal in the bottom left-hand corner, right up to a destination visit with a high spend in the top right-hand corner on that diagonal. And you can see these move between things like retail, so food to go, maybe things like pret-a-manger, Greggs maybe, through quick service restaurants. You'll know the massive brands that make up this sector: McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, etc., through fast casual. So these are maybe things like, I don't know, the gourmet burger kitchens, Pizza Express maybe, through casual dining. So these are the kind of big high street restaurant chains that you would know. Zizzi's maybe would be a good example here. Through to polished casual. So this might be things like the Ivy Brasserie, Cote, the kind of more upmarket high street restaurants, through to fine dining. Think of some of maybe the celebrity chefs and their very fine dining restaurants. And what I've missed out here is the kind of big oblong at the bottom with this exciting new or rapidly expanding sector of home delivery. And actually, given that I'm recording this in the kind of lockdown period of COVID-19, this home delivery kind of oval needs stretching across the whole of the bottom of this matrix now, because we can even see some of the fine dining restaurants dabbling their hand into this home delivery market. So the next slide's another schema. Us academics love the idea of trying to classify things. And again, it just gives us an idea of the scope of this food service sector. And whilst I'm going to focus on restaurants, as I did with hotels in the accommodation sector, you can see on the slide that there's a mass of other opportunities through food service. And all of these subsectors are going to provide you opportunities for potential placements and careers after university. And they can range from things like the welfare sector, so things like schools, hospitals, prisons, through to the travel sector, cruise ships, in-flight catering, rail catering, touched on education, events, a massive sector in itself, business and industry, through to the food and beverage that goes on in hotels and accommodation, and then the restaurants that I'm going to focus on. So, where do we go next? I'm going to give you a quick whiz through a few slides of what I think is going on right now. One of the things we will look at university and through the courses is what makes businesses successful, but equally in doing that, why do businesses fail? And this slide's all about the wheel of misfortune. There seems to be lots of kind of high profile restaurant failures at the moment. You'll see in the news lots of restaurant groups calling in consultants, looking for CVAs, etc., etc. So you'll have seen some of these stories in the press probably. James Italian, probably one of the more famous ones. And we've got a list of things that are maybe going on to create maybe a perfect storm in the restaurant marketplace, or particularly the high street restaurant marketplace, that are making things tough for those operators. And that's before we consider COVID-19 into the mix as well. At university, we'll also consider the service firm life cycle of these businesses. We'll think about writing business plans. You'll get the opportunity to study that, to study what it takes to be an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. And we'll think about innovation, both in terms of restaurants and in new product development as well. So all of those modules are options to you throughout your degrees with us at Surrey. One of the other things we'll do is try to get you to establish and help you to identify what the current trends might be in an industry or a subsector of that industry. And I'm going to use this as a way of kind of framing what the restaurant sector of hospitality and some of what's going on at the moment in the food service sector. So you can see this slide suggests that we're moving to quicker meals and the emergence of fast casual that I've identified on a previous slide. And there's lots of examples here of people doing this well. We also can see other maybe mature restaurant concepts such as Wagga Mamas, who are a really successful restaurant group. They outcompete the market consistently, and they're trialing this new concept in London, Mama Go, which is all about tapping into that previous trend of this kind of fast casual. You can pick this stuff up and leave, have it for your lunch. It's aimed in a part of London. I think it's Fenchurch Street, around lots of offices near travel terminals where people might be grabbing lunch and getting on their train or eating it back at their desk or in the park, wherever that might be. We're also seeing lots more food to go creeping into retail. So you might see this yourselves in supermarkets, convenience stores, in petrol stations. There's lots more of this kind of fresh food to go, cooked on site or reheated on site, whether it's sushi in Waitrose or M&S being in petrol stations, etc., etc. There's lots of this going on. We're also seeing lots more all-day dining, and there's some examples of this on the next screen. And then delivery is probably the biggest trend that I would identify right now. It's being accelerated by COVID-19 even further. And we're seeing lots of different models of this through different aggregators, such as Deliveroo, restaurants doing it themselves, maybe Domino's would be a great example of this, and a kind of, I guess, hunger for what I want, when I want it, being able to get it where I want it, and people ordering from home or work. And with that, we have this concept of dark or ghost kitchens or virtual kitchens. And the idea of this is that it's a restaurant without a front of house. So there might be some benefits of building these or hosting these in cheaper rent areas, maybe on the outskirts of town or business parks. And they're basically commercial kitchens that are operating for a brand, but without that front of house, so the customer's not really aware of where this is or where their food's coming from. And you might want to consider that next time you order delivery. Food halls is another big trend. And temporary concepts, pop-up concepts are another big trend as well. And again, these are maybe something that's a great way of trialing or testing a new idea, being innovative, seeing if it works through a pop-up or a food truck before you go on and invest in a bricks and mortar site. Technology is also really big. We probably can't talk about much without thinking about how technology is going to change the offering in the foreseeable future. And again, COVID-19 has been an accelerator of that adoption. It's adoption we predicted anyway, but people are having to embrace the technology through doing whatever they do. And indeed, we're doing that here in this taster lecture that we might have been giving face-to-face in the past. And my colleague Is going to talk a lot more about what we're doing around technology through our research a little bit later on in this session. The American trend, this has been around, I guess, since the 50s, but it seems to keep going on, keep giving, and we see lots and lots of examples of this carry on. We seem to be hungry for this trend still in 2020. Whether it's got a finite life, I'm not sure. Whether the time will turn, we'll see. The last trend that I've identified is this healthier living and personalised health trend. And again, the technology that I've just mentioned, that my colleague's going to talk more about, is really allowing us to think about this more. Personalised health, can we tap into people's biometric data or the data that they're maybe collecting through their wearables? How can we allow people to customise their meals, such as the Vita Mojo example on the left-hand side of the screen, where you can literally turn a dial to turn up the size of the portions and the macronutrients you want in your meal. This is something that we think is going to be much bigger in the future. Again, considering the restaurant side or the food service side of the hospitality industry, you'll have various opportunities to study this side of the sector throughout your degrees at Surrey. The restaurant operations and management modules in the first year of the hospitality management program will allow you to do this. We have final year modules called hospitality events management and innovation and development in restaurant operations, which again will equally allow you to study this side of the sector too. So to finish off with, I wanted to think about innovation and COVID-19, some of the challenges we have around our sector. And I've posted these three pictures up that I've seen on Twitter in the last week. Some innovative, I guess, ideas about how we might put in social distancing in restaurants in the coming months. One of these is from Paris and one is from Amsterdam. And then another example of some of the innovation we see happening in the sector right now as we speak. The guy in the bottom right-hand corner of the slide is from Pizza Pilgrims. It's a small growing group of pizza restaurants in London, and they came up with this idea of this kind of home meal kit where you spend some quality time with your family, knock up your own couple of pizzas in this neat kit that comes delivered to your house for 2 or 4 people. And the sales of these things have been magnificent. This chap was one of our guest speakers on one of my modules a couple of weeks ago, and he predicted they might sell 50 of these kits in the first week. It was just a trial, an innovative kind of idea, or something to do during this lockdown period when the restaurants are much quieter, and he managed to sell over 5,000 in the first week. And he's gone on to enjoy great success with it. So it just shows the kind of entrepreneurialism, innovation and things that go on in our industry, and some of the people, the guest speakers that you will be exposed to if you study with us. Other innovation going on through COVID-19 includes lots of restaurants turning their hand to delivery, chefs cooking through social media and encouraging you to do this, and other restaurants providing ingredients that you can order from them to then create your own meal using their ingredients at home. And I would reiterate that students can get involved in what's going on, the trends, get involved in this stuff through guest speakers while you're at university, and also seeing what the lecturers are contributing to in terms of maybe webinars, articles in the press, etc.
I lead 2 modules, restaurant operations in semester 1 of the first year and restaurant management in semester 2. The first module, restaurant operations, students learn all the basic skills to enable them to run a restaurant operation. We do this in the Lakeside restaurant, coffee shop and kitchen within the School of Management. In the second semester, the students run the restaurant in their teams of 5 or 6 for the day, culminating in a lunch project, usually in around May, where they do every aspect from finances, marketing, the actual operational day itself, and then they write an individual report reflecting on the business aspects of that project. Students tell me that they really enjoy this project and they think about it even when they graduated 3 or 4 years later.
The module I teach at level 6, which is the final year, is innovation and new product development. It's a module which students seem to really enjoy because it gives them a chance to do something different and creative, something they've not really done so much through the other parts of their programme. So what they do in small groups is come up with a new product idea, whether that's a physical food product or whether it's a restaurant or a cafe type concept. And they work through the early stages of product development to a point where they decide whether or not their idea is worth pursuing or not. It's good fun and seems to work well.
We apply innovative learning methodologies in the classroom and outside the classroom, and we offer innovative modules. For example, here, as you can see, we apply Lego Serious Play, business model canvas or service blueprints, and other service design methodologies. We also apply simulation in modules such as hospitality operations and revenue management, so students would have first-hand experience or close to first-hand experience with decision-making such as pricing and how this decision would influence profitability, for example. We are also using cutting-edge technology in hospitality in both our teaching and in research. We have a dedicated group of researchers looking into artificial intelligence, service robots, and intelligent automation in the hospitality industry. In fact, we do own our very own robots. This is one of them. It's called Now, and Now here is sitting at the lakeside welcoming guests. This is another of our robots. It's called Pepper. Pepper here has been designed and programmed to welcome attendees to business events such as conferences, as well as to serve customers in a restaurant setting or in other hospitality settings.
So a couple of ideas of some things you might want to do before you join us at Surrey. There's a couple of textbooks that I thought would be really useful for you to have a look at before you start. You'll probably find these or back editions of these fairly cheaply on Amazon or Books Depository, or you might be able to find them in your own libraries. The first one's a food and beverage management textbook. It's written by one of our emeritus professors, Andrew Lockwood, with some other colleagues, and it's a contemporary text on the food service sector. The second book I'm recommending is Service Operations Management by Johnson et al. And it focuses on service operations and service delivery per se. Again, it's a really accessible textbook. It's useful. I think both of these books will be useful to you throughout your whole 3 years at Surrey, and particularly the operational modules. They're both well written, they're easily accessible, and yeah, I'd encourage you to have a look at them. We've also posted some Twitter feeds at the bottom of this page. The school's Twitter feed is there, at SHTM at Surrey. And I also run 2 curated Twitter feeds on restaurant innovation and hotel operations, where you'll be able to follow the tweets I post on these subjects, looking at kind of contemporary examples and interesting things for you to read and be aware of that are happening in the industry right now. I'm going to pass over again to my colleague, Is, who's going to wrap up this session. Thanks for listening.
I hope you enjoyed the taster session and you understand better what you will learn and experience in our programs at the University of Surrey. We are excited and looking forward to welcoming you to the family of hospitality in the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at the University of Surrey. We are Hospitality at Surrey.
We are Hospitality at Surrey.
We are Hospitality at Surrey.
Forget it.
We are Hospitality at Surrey.